pool of these chimeras that's coming to join for the scoop here, and a number of small rockfish.
I think Tom is watching, so hopefully he will be able to help us with a lot of the fish IDs.
Yes.
And I had to log back into science chat. Somehow froze on me. Okay, yeah, so he's saying striped tail rockfish. Tom says they're all cute little fishes. Yes, they are.
Yes. I'm also sitting here with my a guide to the rockfishes, thorny heads, and scorpion fishes of the Northeast Pacific sitting in front of me, since I figure rockfish are going to be the dominant thing we're seeing today.
Yes, I have to open up we have an online one. I'm going to open it up right now.
Is that enough? Is that enough, or do you want some more in there?
I think that's more than enough.
Copy.
We scooped a lot less than that.
Would you like the sample, Sava?
No.
Nope. Roger.
Not needed. Well, maybe.
I can do it.
I guess I need the sample sample.
Daniel says, thanks for the scoop. That looks great.
If I can only get the scoop in the box. Okay.
Coming close.
What sample number are we on?
That was sample 80.
Okay, I'll let you do it, Meredith.
Sure.
Great.
For those listening along at home wondering what we're talking about, we have a sheet open. That's a shared Google sheet that we're all recording notes throughout the dive on, like where the samples are, just so that they can be matched up with the log that the ship is taking as well, and helps kind of keep everything organized.
Yeah, and it's a great way to work together remotely, and that's what's happening right now. Meredith is sitting at home. Well, I'll let you tell people where you are, Meredith, but I'm sitting here at my home office. Because of COVID, a lot of us have been working from home. There's a school of squid. I think those are market squid, but I'm working from home and participating in this dive remotely. It's like doing science without getting wet, without getting seasick. I do miss being on a ship with all the other crew, but because we're all working remotely with each other, having these documents that we can share together means that we are still able to make progress and be on the same page, if you will.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're ready for instructions.
Yeah, we can head up
all
slope
right.
or hang around here, whichever you like.
Why don't we start heading up?
Okay.
Nope. Go ahead.
Yeah, start heading up slope towards the next waypoint.
Sure thing. Going
Maybe
0.
Follow that skate.
025.
If it's going up slope. No, it's not going
Bridge
upslope.
nav.
So
Do
did
100
the
meters,
Nautilus
bearing 025, speed 0.3.
did the Nautilus crew introduce themselves before? I was off on a phone call.
Not yet. This is Renato
Well,
Kane. I'm the navigator.
Dan sitting in the Herc chair.
Jake Bonney in the Argus chair.
Stephen Matter in the video chair.
And Taylor Ann Smith in the data logger seat.
So folks, when you heard people say chair, which chair they're sitting in, they really are sitting in chairs. Looking at these giant screens, even the ROV pilots, ROV means remotely operated vehicle, they are sitting in chairs and they are remotely operating these vehicles. So when we heard Dan say he's in the Herc chair, he means he's piloting the Hercules ROV, and Jake is piloting the Argus ROV. We have a 2 ROV system here. The Hercules is the one from which we are broadcasting this imagery. So we're moving upslope. I think we can just go upslope until we're just exploring, right, Meredith?
Yep.
And we can do some
Yeah.
time transects in between. And you can see the other sort of shadows of people. They're in a dark room because it's better to see the monitors that way. We have the data logger, Taylor Ann, and we also have the navigator, and we have the video person, and that person is very important to help with the zooming in and out of the camera so that we can get these close-ups of the animals that we'll be seeing. And then there's Meredith and myself, and we'll be narrating and talking about what we see. And we also hope that the Nautilus crew will chime in with their knowledge of what we're seeing, because you all have been doing these dives for hours and hours and hours, and I'm sure you have your expertise yourself to share.
I should know what kind of fish that is we're looking at, but I can't remember. I've seen so many.
Those are chimeras, otherwise known as ratfish in some areas.
And Meredith, you probably said what?
Yep. These ones are actually pretty small. Like I'm not used to seeing ratfish this small.
There's a lot of them too.
Yep.
And if I hope you haven't said this already, Meredith, but they're a very interesting fish in that they have, like sharks and skates, they have a cartilaginous skeleton, but they
That's
also
true.
have
I
a
have
lot of
not yet said that.
characteristics. But they also have a lot of characteristics of bony fishes, which are the fishes that we will be mostly seeing.
See in the Argus cam, there's a lot of squid that are kind of hanging around Hercules.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah, and
activity.
on the dive last night, there were a lot of squid when you were descending to the site where the Petrali soul spawning
Come down
was
a couple
happening.
meters, will you?
Coming down.
Instead of getting yarded around. I don't know what.
Tom is saying in the science chat that these chimeras have really dark dorsal fins, that they're not juveniles, but they're probably young or subadults. That's one of the
Zoom
reasons
in
they're
there,
so
Steve.
small.
And so what Steve is zooming in on here is a benthic siphonophore.
Yep.
We see a lot of them. And then the folks who analyze the imagery call them the pineapple siphonophore, just quickly. But I think their species name is, or genus name is Dromelia, or something like that. I'm looking it up real quick.
Yeah, Erica Burton has chimed in on the science chat, Dromalia.
Dromalia, yeah. And most siphonophores that we see are midwater, they're pelagic, but this one has these long tentacles,
Okay,
if
zoom
you
out.
will, and some of them, a few of them serve as an anchor so that they don't drift away and they stay in one spot. And then those little biscuit-looking things on the bottom are urchins. I
Yep.
think they're the fragilis, the fragile urchins.
Yeah,
These are
fragile
not the
pink
ones.
urchin.
Yeah. And these are not the urchins that are harvested for their uni in sushi. Those are the
No.
purple or reds.
Although they are the same
Doing that
genus.
flicky thing now. You got.
Oh, really? They're Strongylocentrotus?
They're Strongylocentrotus.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. We're seeing some squid. They school together. They're darting in and around. I don't know if the squid fishery is open now.
I know up in the
There you
northwest
go.
it will
That was
be
a great
opening
shot.
soon.
It's
Just
like
a
flat.
little up.
It's flat calm out.
I like to keep running calm, focused on
Okay.
his duties.
You'll hear about it if I'm upset.
Nice
That
little
was
pile
fine.
of urchins there.
Something.
Quite a few of those benthic siphonophores.
Mm-hmm.
So are we right on the first waypoint, or are we traveling towards that waypoint?
We started at the first waypoint. Argus started there. Herc was just a couple, tens of meters in front of it. One tether length, and now we're heading upslope.
So Lizzie, Lizzie Duncan, she is the chief scientist for this portion of the cruise, and I just was talking with her. That's why I left this part of the dive, the beginning part, and she said that we would likely see a lot of soft substrate while we were on the slope, which is, as the name implies, we were on sort of an incline. And we're moving towards the shelf, which is a flatter portion of the seafloor here. And you can see what I'm referring to if you go to either the quad view, which is channel 4, or just go to channel 3. And you can see the navigation and the GIFs on there. And, we could do a transect if you want, Meredith.
So,
What do you think?
Hercules was showing off his good side there in Argus.
Yeah, there's a really good view of Hercules on the Argus cam right now. But yeah, well,
yeah.
if the ship is moving well, why don't we go ahead and start a transect now that we're moving up the slope?
Sure. Let me just continue that move then. Bridge nav. Add step 200 meters, 025. Thank you.
There are a bunch of small bait fish that are kind of in with this squid. I just saw some of the squid hunting them, kind of darting towards these little clouds of either fish or mysids.
All right, Dan, let me know when you're ready to start a transect.
Yeah, ready.
Okay,
025?
Whenever you're ready.
025.
And just like all the other days that we've been doing this, 200 meters for the
Roger that.
timed transect.
200.
Thank you.
All right, Taylor Ann, we'll call that the start.
Alrighty.
T1.
Yep.
be interesting to see if the squid continue to follow us through the transect. They present moving animals like that present a unique challenge for counting because you want to make sure you only count things once, and it's hard to tell, of course, if they're hanging out around the vehicle and moving forward.
Yeah,
that?
that's impossible.
0.5?
Ship's currently going 0.3. Do we want to do a
Yeah, let's.
half a knot transect or a 0.3 knot
Yeah,
transect?
the day plan said half a knot transects.
Bridge nav?
Point 0.3.
0.3?
Well, 0.3, yeah.
Never mind. Thank you.
That's what I get for reading the day plan.
Works. Best for you.
Ruined a perfect record.
Go back to not reading them. Okay. Still moving.
My V-Link is sort of going in and out. I'm going to try and, let me see, close some. I don't have anything open really on my computer.
The current happens to be favorable for close-ups there because it's sweeping the tether off to the side. So,
Yeah.
normally I wouldn't get that close to. Oh, you would have the footballs smacking you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good shot of the Hercules. Who came up with the names for the ROVs?
I think that was
Mr.
Ballard. Yeah,
Bob
Dr.
Ballard.
Ballard.
So Argus, Hercules I know comes from Greek mythology. Argus too?
Believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to look that up at some point. Maybe not right now.
Someone told me that the names are mixed, though. It's like Argus and Heracles, or Hercules and Argo, or something like that would be more.
We need
Yeah.
Samantha. She's got all the OET trivia.
Yeah.
Right.
Right
Well,
here, right on the
she
tip
just
of her
got
tongue.
off, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah. So Dan, you were spot on. Tom Leidick, who's the one who is going to be reviewing these tapes, he said because it's flat and not much to see, if you want to go half a knot, go for it.
Roger that. Increasing to half a knot.
Roger.
Bridge
Right in the
nav.
afterburners now.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten so used to doing the transects
Increase
in the
speed
really
to
complex
0.5.
terrain
Yeah.
Thank you.
where you really can't go faster. That we're dialed in here at 0.3 when on this bottom we could go fast.
My
Yeah.
grandma and her walker can go faster than we are now.
Now.
Speedy grandma.
Tom said he had you going 0.7 this morning.
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was because they were on the hunt for the
We were running
Yeah.
out of time, so
the cuddle puddles.
right.
We found them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Found those fish
I
are
rewound.
amazingly fast.
Yeah.
Just can't believe how.
Yes.
Especially that they're just flat, you know.
Well, I also think that they were just bothered. They wanted some privacy.
Yep.
It might be a sort of a vulnerable time for them to be in, whatever they were setting up for. So they're spooked easily.
One would freak out, and then like 20 of them would freak
Yeah.
out, and the visibility would just disrupt. And as far as you could see,
Yeah.
there would be a dust storm.
Yeah.
And
But I
some
saw
of them run
that,
around in a circle. It was really quite entertaining.
But I also saw you guys did a good job sneaking up on them a couple times. It was pretty clever. So what we're referring to is on the previous dive, on the midnight to 4 shift, they were looking for aggregates of petrale sole, and we were trying to observe. We think that they were aggregating for reproductive purposes, because the way that we had, or that we, I'm saying we, the royal we, that scientists from NOAA Fisheries had observed them 2 years ago on an automated, on an AUV dive. They had seen the petrale sole sort of stacked upon each other. So, which is, fish don't usually do that. And when they get close like that, we as scientists think, oh, they might be reproducing or getting ready to reproduce. So they went back on the dive yesterday and they observed them. And you just heard Dan saying that whenever the Hercules would get close to them, the Hercules itself, I think, makes a lot of noise, correct?
Yes.
It
Yeah.
is
So
noisy,
it's sort of
but
like a,
The lights as well are very bright.
yeah.
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 but for sure when we would, if we bumped a rock or touched anything, they did not like that.
Right. Right.
It's like a big heavy footprint.
Right. So even though we're scientists and we're, try to be objective, doing a dive like that obviously causes a lot of hilarity and a lot of sort of references to common English things that when we're talking about reproduction. So we called it, we hoped that love would be in the air, and they were talking about trying to find these cuddle puddles, and I'm sure you can riff on that yourself.
Didn't hear the cuddle puddles one. That's pretty funny.
They
That
looked-
was Samantha's term.
Ah. They looked very grumpy when we zoomed in on them.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Yeah,
I
they were
thought
so
that was
cute.
funny. Yeah. Well, it's
Well,
the
if you
way
came-
that
if
the
someone came
shape
to
of
me-
their mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. And also the perspective of, well, someone came to where you were piled up in the middle of the night with your, local family and shined a bright light in your eyes, I'm sure you'd be grumpy too.
I'd be very grumpy.
Yeah.
I love my sleep, so, and my rest.
I saw some of the video. I didn't have time to watch it for a while, enough time to see some of the good piles that were visible, but I did see the big clouds of dust where they were clearly just scattering.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Tom is
not a lot of
commenting.
fish here.
Yeah, we suddenly lost all the fish. I just looked at the Argus view and I don't see the squid following us anymore either.
We're going too
Or
fast.
they're just not in the pool. I have a sneaking suspicion we haven't really lost them. Other dives at these depths in the Channel Islands I've watched, whenever the ROV pauses, it's suddenly swarmed by everything that's been hiding just outside of the light pool.
Yeah, usually they follow us kind of like bugs to a light. So they feed around the whatever we're disturbing, or just because of the lights. So.
Well, the light attracts a lot of zooplankton
Mm-hmm.
because the zooplankton are using it to feed, which then attracts the larger invertebrates like the squid. And that's how squid boats attract squid. They use these bright lights. Is that a petrale coming up? It's a
I
flatfish.
think it is.
I didn't see the eyeballs on his tail.
Yes, it is
Yep.
a petrale. Those were the ones that we were on the search for last night. But petrale have an interesting way of lying on the bottom. They tend to sort of arch their body up with their caudal fin a little bit up in the air and their heads up in the air. They make this little U. That one was completely flat.
Nestled down in this softer looking sediment.
Mm-hmm. Maybe resting from what happened last night.
That'd be a long swim, so if it came down from where they were last night, I'm sure it's resting.
Yes. I don't think it came from there, but maybe there was some action down here because they tend to sort of, I think this is from the few observations that we have on their spawning, I think this is the time of the year.
Tom's going to have a very easy transect to count.
Yeah, Tom. 1834 T1, not much to see.
Somebody's got to count all these sea urchins, though, right?
Yeah. Yep, someone will count all the sea urchins.
Isn't that what grad students are for?
Some of them. Some of them are graduate students. You're right. Maybe some of them are even undergrads. And Tom says it's not over yet. We could hit some amazing spot of biodiversity at the end of the transect.
We usually do right after the transect ends.
Right after the transect. Yeah, Abby Powell is training an AI to count urchins for her in the AUV imagery.
Google Coral and a Raspberry Pi, that's all you need. I forget how many hours Steve said he's watched ROV video, scouring all the ROV video he could get for his project with the corals. It was some amazing amount of video that thousands
it could
of
be hours. I review for the eDNA stuff. I review an hour on either side of each sample, and then all of the associated still images. Although I usually do kind of do it in fast forward, kind of, is it coral? Is it not coral? And then, get a quick little look and then keep going, and a quick little look and keep going, just to make sure I get the visual species count.
So all this time we've been going upslope, not terribly steep. And we haven't reached the top of this slope to the shelf, but maybe we will. Not sure how much further we have.
All right, that's the end of the transect right there.
Okay, so we didn't reach the top yet. Thank you.
Steve's online with us, and he says he's watched 400 hours of seafloor video, although he said he has had help from Mary and one of the other techs.
Wow.
So I think on that entire dive, on that entire transect, we only saw one fish, the petrale. But lots of urchins, and urchins also have a role.
Bridge snap. Add one more step, 200 meters, 025. Thank you.
Oh, I think a squid was above us.
And Tom corrected me, we also saw a spotted ratfish. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, up here in the Pacific Northwest, ratfish are actually something we see scuba diving very frequently. Puget Sound is this weird hotspot for ratfish, and they follow divers around.
Looking for something to
Do
eat,
they,
probably.
yeah, do they like the disturbance?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll come into your lights. They're just looking to see what you kick up, kind of follow you around, curious. You'll see them frequently at night, especially, which is always a little disconcerting as you shine your light out and suddenly get this big reflective eye shining back at you.
I don't like that.
Yep, just like that.
Oh, they're
Whoa,
fast.
there's our squid. When they come crashing in like that, the question is always, is there something hunting them just up above or in front of us?
I know. It's sort of freaky when you're diving and you see all the fish and all the sort of the animals that are in the midwater and how they all then rush down and you think, what's coming? What's behind me? And in this case, we could turn on the Argus's rear camera and see what's coming, but we have it now trained forward on the Hercules.
Yeah, we've been
Or
watching.
we could see
haven't seen anything.
Another interesting factoid about the spotted ratfish is that in addition to having the cartilage in the skeleton, they are one of the more ancient groups. They are largely unchanged from the fossil record, the ones that are around today. Down below where we have the rockfish, we also had a few sea pens, but I haven't seen those around lately either.
I missed the sea pens. So now that we're not on transect, maybe we could look at a few if you see them.
Yeah, I'm looking for them. I'll point them out, and we can get a good zoom.
Yeah, great.
Nice crab there.
Was.
Tucked into the
Oh,
sand.
no, he still is.
Yeah, was.
Yep. I thought it was a shell for a minute.
So we're on the western portion of the Channel Islands, and this isn't always an easy place to come diving because it's much more exposed. We have to always wait for good weather conditions. We have that window right now. There is a sort of a weather system coming in, and the future dives that we will do will be more in the leeward side of the Channel Islands, so south of here and a bit more east. But today with the good weather, there is a strong surface current. I'm not seeing that much here. Are you feeling a lot of the current down here, pilots, Dan or Jake?
Yeah, it seemed to be blowing up the hill there pretty good.
Okay.
Was it up the hill or down the hill? I can't remember now. When we had the scoop, which way was it going? It was going.
I think you were facing uphill roughly.
Oh, side held.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, it was coming. Thought it was coming down the hill. Not super strong though, but enough to, if you look at the Hercules tether from the Argus shot, it's being swept.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell which way the current's going there. Even though we're going forward, it's being swept to our port side pretty good.
Yes, so this is always something to consider when we're down here is the physical conditions can make the exploration sometimes a little bit more challenging.
Looks like it's
or a lot more
slope
challenging.
is flattening out or towards the top here.
We did this flatten out.
That matches our map.
We have a request from Taylor Ann that if we get back into some urchins, to pause and sample a few of them.
If we see some right now, we should probably stop and get them.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to disappear so quickly.
Yeah. So if you see something, Taylor, and just say, stop, brakes. If we're not on transect, that's no problem.
Yeah. And since we're off transect, we can look around a little too as we wander along this feature.
Copy that.
So at the top here, the general direction, as I understand it, is to go, we're right about at CB now, and we want to head to CC. So we can kind of alter direction to that that course over there and zigzag as we go until we're on transect.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay.
So I think what we're hoping to now find, or we're expecting to find on this flat shelf, are these irregular forms of rocky relief.
Zoom in
and
a
I
bit.
think
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of these little outcrops.
What is that to the, this would have been a good shell hash scoop, but we already used up our scoop. What is that little disc there to the right?
I don't know, but there's one, a little tiny fish too.
Yep, little dude.
Moving towards the disc. Thank you.
Okay, zoom in, Steve. Thanks. It's a baby.
There's a baby rockfish for
a
Tom.
bass. It's a type of.
Or is it bass?
Is that a rockfish? Or it looks like a bass.
Yeah, Tom says it's a green striped rockfish.
Oh, green striped rockfish.
Just a baby.
And
I think that.
Go ahead.
That dome, the yellow dome, might be a nudibranch.
Yeah.
Bridge nav.
With its rhinophores all pulled in.
Hold position.
Okay, try again, Steve. Camera's really fast on this. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe not. Hard to say.
I think I may be tugging you in a second.
And you can see some hermit crabs.
Spinning around to give you more leash.
Tom says poke it.
We can poke it.
I think we have time.
Yeah, why not?
All right, I'll back up a bit.
That's got you written all over it, Jake.
Yes, so this is how scientists do deep sea exploration. We poke things.
It's a scientific poke.
Yes.
15 meter step bearing 240. Thank you.
But it's also a great time to observe this green striped baby rockfish. And I think you can tell why it's called green striped. We have many rockfish species here on the west coast. They belong to the genus Sebastes. A lot of them are favorites in the commercial and recreational fishing.
Yep.
Where is it?
I think there's more
There-
than 100 species.
Look, see
Oh,
the
there it
shadow?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. They're tasty. You can see that shadow is the manipulator arm coming out. What is the correct term for that thing that we're going to poke with?
Yeah, it is a manipulator.
Okay, it's the manipulator. Here it comes.
Good poke.
Tom says there's
Is it-
70 species off the California coast.
It's still not, didn't really,
It almost looks like a
know
man-made
what it-
sponge or something.
Yeah,
Let me know if you want another
I'm not
poke.
sure what it.
Sand dollar.
no, I think that's okay. I don't really want to get a
Roger.
letter from the
Yeah,
SPCA
it
or
looks like
something
it might
that.
be a sponge growing in or on a clamshell or something.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
here comes a little
Okay.
Come back.
green stripe to check it out.
Oh
See
yeah.
what
Is
we're
that a
doing.
scaphoid in the background that see it kind of walking?
Oh,
around?
Yeah.
the tusk that's moving.
Yeah. See that in
They're
the
all
upper,
coming
upper right
into-
hand corner? I think that's a scaphoid.
Oh,
Yeah. They're all checking out the disturbance because maybe we unearthed some food,
Mm.
some tasty morsel.
Tom thinks it's a hermit crab in a scaphoid shell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Today I felt like wearing a tall hat.
that's full zoom.
We've got a little hydroid blowing around center screen as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
the
there's
fish at
lots
the top
to
is a little
see.
sculpin.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we weren't zoomed in, those of you who are following along, it might have seemed sort of boring, but if you get up close and you can see that there's lots of activity on the surface and also within the sediments here are lots of animals. They're called infaunal, and there's lots of diversity within the sediments. Lots of diversity of animals living in there.
It's a great look at that snail locomotion.
So Tom is saying that isn't, yeah, these are two different species of fish that we're seeing here. To the lower mid-screen is the green stripe, and then the other one is a sculpin.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of
And
walking,
unfortunately
they're
with
both walking on-
sculpins, they're almost impossible to tell without collecting them.
Yeah.
Although Tom says he thinks it's a roughback.
And they sort of have a squatter head compared to this pointy-headed rockfish. But they both sort of, as you can see, are walking on their pectoral fins. One more than the other. The sculpin more than the rockfish. I think this is good.
Okay.
It was a
Yep.
nice intro to what lives on sandy bottom.
So we've gone 100 meters since the end of the last one, and we're now at the top of the slope in case you want to do a transect at any point.
Okay. Let's say, why don't we start a transect, but if we come into some urchins, we will go ahead and pause for Taylor Ann and sample and then just resume the transect.
Okay. We're going to be heading 045.
045.
Is 0.5 knots still okay with you on shore?
Yeah, that'll be just fine in this terrain.
I'll get going now, and then by the time I'll bridge nav. 250 meters, bearing 045, speed 0.5.
And there's an octopus sort of
Yep.
lower, coming almost to the same level as the lasers.
Just went under the lasers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to the left of the lasers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's chasing the lasers. It's a game, like a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bridge. That's 045 bearing.
No, it really is.
250.
It is.
I've never seen this. See them do this.
I think you're on mute, Dan.
I've seen the Humboldt squid do that, but I haven't seen an octopus do it.
Pretty cool.
Same family group, cephalopod. Correct? I hope I got that right.
Yep. Same family.
Changing colors on us. I wonder now if the lights are brighter that it can't differentiate the lasers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost interest in that game.
Yeah.
So the
Or it's like my cat.
Yeah.
Figured out that the lasers aren't actually food.
Zoom in a little, Steve.
Yeah.
Really changing. No, it's
Yeah,
dark,
look at
dark
its
red.
He went into defensive mode, maybe.
It's the angry
That's good.
color.
and those two laser lights, they are 10 centimeters apart. So this gives us an idea of how large that octopus is.
Little guy.
Not very, yeah, little guy. But mighty.
It's been giving us a really good show on how it can quickly change color and texture.
I started that move, but I can hold off on it.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, those white spots mimic sort of the shell hash in the background.
Yep.
On its skin.
Yeah, that was cool to see it change.
It's interesting. He was he matched the background when he was in prey mode, but now
Yeah.
turned angry red.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play anymore.
And it's the deep sea ones. I don't think really. I've never seen change color. So the giant Pacific, all that stuff.
Yeah, some video of a deep sea one changing color, but we went up and poked him. Didn't poke him, but we kind of put the lights on him and gave a little
Brush up.
thruster wash.
Yeah.
When he felt that, he didn't like it. But yeah, that's basically the only time I've seen one really change
Yeah.
in the deep.
All right, we'll call this start a transect then.
All right.
Roger. Am I on the right heading?
045, I think.
That's Roger, yeah. That's a Roger.
Do you all get off the ship and talk to your friends this way when you agree with something? Roger that.
That implies that we have friends off the ship.
I know you have friends. As friendly as you are now, you must have friends.
No, it's more like, yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, brah.
I've picked up the habit, but for text messages, when someone sends me something and I just want to acknowledge it, I usually just send back Roger.
Copy.
Or copy that, yeah.
Yeah, I get that from the boss once in a while, and I always wonder, so is he mad or is he just busy? Did I talk to send like 3 paragraphs and get a Roger?
It's just a short and succinct response.
I would take it that they're just busy.
Seeing a little bit of odds and ends of seagrass scattered around the bottom.
I think there's lots of squid on the Argus.
Yeah.
Eating it.
Oh, wow.
Just rolled in.
Squid rain.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Lots of squid.
Yeah, right above us. So when we say we're seeing the squid, we are seeing them on channel 2, or if you go to channel 4, you can see the 4 channels in what we call the quad view. Skate?
Nice skate.
Is that the, I can never get it right, the long nose? Pointy nose, something nose.
I don't think that one is a long nose skate.
Okay.
Oh, Tom says it is.
I feel like we've seen those on every dive.
They're
they
really
are.
common West Coast species.
Yeah, and at all depths, or many depths, not all, but a lot of them. Oh, those are those the sea pens now that we're on transect to the left? Tom is saying yes, we just passed a couple of sea pens to the left.
I think so.
But we're on transect right now, so we can't go and investigate. But when we're off transect, we will.
Oh.
I'm sure we'll get a few more, seeing more fish and shells up here on the flats.
It seems like the sediment here is finer than when we were down on the slope. Now that we're on the shelf, it's finer grained sediment. A little bit more dusty and cloudy.
Yeah. There was a little sea pen just going by on the right.
And we're seeing, I think, those long, dark threads, I think, are from eelgrass beds.
Yep, I think that's either eelgrass or the phyllosbatic surf grass, which just come down from shallower depths.
So that's not what you're collecting, right, Taylor Ann? You're not trying to see if
no,
the
not.
microplastics are on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there would be, but maybe yeah, that's just not what I'm looking at.
Yeah, you need to narrow your thesis. You can't do it all.
Yeah, I can't do it all. As much as I would love to.
Yeah, Taylor Ann's going to look at microplastics on all organisms in the ocean and be done with it in 2 years.
Yeah, if I had the time and the funding and maybe 5 more arms.
And no need for sleep.
Yeah.
An interesting small critter poking out of the sediment that I'm not sure is a sea pen. Looks a little too robust.
And what are these little mounds called again? Like, can you see those little kind of like mounds in the sand?
Herms?
Bioherms.
Bioherms, yes.
Can you explain what bioherms are?
Yeah, so if I'll try to see if we can point one out, but they're basically a mound of the sediment that we're seeing here, and it's usually from something underneath it has pushed up this little mound as it moves around and feeds, but under the surface of the sediment.
Oh, so one of the infaunal organisms.
Yeah.
Sort of forming these moonscapes. We just went over a flatfish.
Yep, a little tiny one.
It looked like maybe the ones that you eat, the Sithorichthys. Not a sand dab. Maybe. Tom's not here, so he didn't see it. So when we keep on saying Tom Leidig, he is the fish expert, the ichthyologist, and he's the one who analyzes a lot. Not him, but he leads a team of people that analyze these tapes. So he knows a lot about what we're viewing. So he's saying that sand dabs are Sithorichthys. So was that a sand dab, Tom, that we just went over? Maybe he didn't see it. And the way that we're talking with Tom is we have a chat, I don't know, chat function, and we're talking with a group of scientists who are part of our cruise, if you will, and they're participating via the SciChat, and we're texting with each other.
There's a sea pen
So Tom
there,
was saying
just
that
going
might
by
have.
on the right.
Okay, yeah. Here's another one, Tom, of what I think we saw earlier, the flatfish. Another flatfish to the right. We're seeing quite a few here. They seem to be all the same species, but they're small and it's too hard to tell.
That one seemed to have kind of a less round, more oblong shape.
I think now might be the time to talk about, you might have noticed that these flatfishes have their eyes on the same side of their head, looking out. It wouldn't make sense to have an eye that's just looking down on the ground. But they start out with their eyes on both sides of their head as larvae. And when they settle on the sea floor, the other eye migrates around across their nose bridge, if you will, to the other side. And there are right-eyed and left-eyed flatfishes. Here's another one that we just went by.
Tom was saying once we're off transect, we'll find one and zoom in on it to get a good look.
Yep, 25 more meters.
Coming up on a skate, flying along the bottom there, using its wings. Okay. So that was not a sand dab because the way that that flatfish was moving away, it's a right-eyed fish and sand dabs are left-eyed. So it might have been a Dover then, a Dover sole.